Going into tonight's game, we were 3 points ahead, albeit Stenhousemuir had a game in hand. How do you feel looking back in the game now, how it went to plan?
Yeah, I think quickly I thought we were the better team in the first half. Probably until we scored, and then for some reason for about 7 or 8 minutes we just fell away after we took the lead. We were a bit disappointed to lose a goal right on half time. I think in the second half Stenhousemuir started getting on top of us just at the start, and we changed the shape of our team. And then I thought we picked up and started to get on top a little bit. And then credit to them, they changed their shape again and caused us problems. And both teams had chances at the end. I think we cleared one off the line, and I think Innes didn't connect properly with one. And I think looking back, if Danny Hanlon maybe has more time than he thinks when he puts one over the bar, lovely 1-2 Uzi around the corner. So all in all, when I think of that, I think probably a draw was a fair result.
Going into the first half though, we did have chances on open play, and I thought the energy at Jordan was terrific in the first half. We scored our goal, fantastic goal for Jack, right at the top corner.
Yeah, we had to play Jack left back tonight. Injuries have, I said that in my programme, injuries have hit us hard again. Callum Crane, Robbie McIntyre, Robbo, Lee Hamilton, Callum Tappin. 5 big players for us, in a squad of 20. Be without the 5, and then so Jack played there and he played really well there. But then you lose Danny Jardine, which looks a bad one. So that doesn't look great. So that's another one down. And then we had to take James Farrell off as well because his hamstrings were starting to tighten up. So we have to wait and see that. But you're potentially without 7 players for Saturday, and it's like all over again that we had earlier in the season.
Is that a concern in terms of the injuries when these guys are coming back? Is it the same injury, or are they picking up different injuries?
No, it's different. Danny's is his knee. Danny's was out with his hamstring. It's just a knock to his knee, so there's nothing you can do about that. Mm-hmm. James could be maybe overstretched. He's played decent amount of game time in recent time, but maybe just tiredness, young boy. So you've got to look into all those things. We've sat as a medical staff and as a group, there's nothing. It's not because of the training surface, it's not because of Ainsley Park, it's not when we go to grass, it's not like we're getting 7 or 8 hamstrings, some are knocks. So we've sat it because we've tried to get to the bottom of it, but for whatever reason, bad luck with injuries has just followed us, and it's continuing to follow us. And going into the game on Saturday, it's a real concern.
Do you feel as a defender yourself, when it came to Stenhousemuir scoring the equaliser, could there have been anything that we could have done better?
Well, I need to look back at the goal again, but obviously with any goal you can do better. How did the cross come in, how did the guy get in front of our defenders?
Yep.
All of these sort of things, and we'll go through that with the group. But I don't want to be critical of the players because I thought they played quite well. I've said this to the national press, people don't understand what we went through as a club this season with injuries. Mm-hmm. We went to watch Forfar against Stenhousemuir on Saturday, and Forfar without 4 or 5 of their key players, and they were a different team. We've had that nearly all season. So I just think people forget what we've went through as a club. I think the players deserve more credit than they're getting, not me. I think the players deserve more credit than they're getting for being in the position they're in with the injuries that we've had this season. I don't know if there's any other squad could have survived that. And you can see that that's continuing on now. Mm-hmm. No, I think the players played well, and I think the biggest thing was in the last 10 minutes when maybe Stenny were starting to look a little bit fresher than us.
Yeah.
We made sure that we got something out of the game.
Yeah.
And so that's pleasing. I've said that to them before. If it's 1-1, 5 minutes to go, whatever, you need to make sure we get something out of the game. So we get that. We didn't see the players now again until Saturday, so that's a concern as well. Because we've got a couple carrying knocks, but Scott is going to go and visit them at their house over Thursday and Friday to try and give them some treatment and make sure that we can try and get as many people back as we can for Saturday. Mm-hmm. But that's where we are now. It's we were in fourth when we started, we're in fourth when we finished. We'd have liked the gap to have been bigger. It's certainly not got any smaller. So we dust ourselves down, we go again on Saturday, and we wait and see who's available, and then we try and pick a formation that will suit the players that are available. Probably rather than trying to pick a formation that will hit Albion Rovers, it'll probably be a formation that suits what we've got available.
Mm-hmm. We're now at the end of the third quarter, going into the last quarter of the season. You know, and what do you expect now in terms of the squad, how they're going to address these final games and the build up to essentially the
It just takes
playoffs?
it game to game. You can't judge it, Cam, the way it's been because of the injuries we've had. It's very difficult. If I had a full squad, I would be saying, going into these 9 games, because you need all your squad, I would be saying you were expecting X, Y and Z. But now it's just game to game. How can I possibly tell you what we're going to do over the next 2 games when I don't know who's available? You know, the under-20s are going to have to be called upon to come on the bench to start when, and they maybe need to come on. We've done it before, we need to do it again. And it's one of the good things about having young players. Listen, I'm not scared to play young players.
Yeah.
Tonight we started with a 20-year-old goalie, a 20-year-old full-back and 2 18-year-old defenders. It'll be the youngest back 5 by miles in the league.
Yeah, and I think that will give them the confidence by playing these under-20s previously. And they did play a lot of games.
You just don't want to play them too many of them together and too often. You know, we've already got 4 or 5, as I'm saying to you, that started tonight. You then bring in another 2 or 3 your own under-20s and you're up to 7 or 8. That can maybe be too much. So we need to just address that. What I would say is, I'm always trying to be honest and realistic. We set out the season to win the league, and we're not going to win the league. Kelty's going to win the league. And it looks very much like Annan and Forfar are going to take 2 of the playoff places. So for me, being realistic, we're one of maybe 2 or 3 teams, I think, that are chasing down 4th place. So that's our aim. We need to make sure at the end of the 9 games that we're in 4th place. And the quicker we get everybody back, and that's nothing to do with the players that are fit, but the quicker we've got everybody back to change it for the bench, to have more options coming on if we're wanting to defend, if we want to chase the game, that'll make the job much, much easier. Just now, we've got square pegs and round holes, whatever you want to say, and everybody in that squad is doing their utmost to get us into the playoffs. Well, that's what I can ask as a manager. And the criticism that we get for certain quarters isn't deserved. It is not deserved, but that's fine. Me and the players will just stay together and we'll try and get us into the playoffs.
Right, well, good luck for Saturday. We'll catch up against Albion, no doubt, at the end of the game.
Cheers, Callum.
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers, pal.